Hey there, this is Maria Brown, functional health consultant, trainer, and founder of Fundamental Function. I just want to start off by saying congratulations. You're here because you recognize that there's a way to accomplish your race goals without sacrificing your health. Let me tell you, this is huge for your longevity and success in the sport. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to help you get really clear on how you can solve your health problems so you can optimize performance for many years to come, all without illness, injury, or burnout. So while most people remain frustrated and find themselves getting slower and fatter instead of leaner and faster, you'll be doing just the opposite, training smarter and living better. The reason I know all this is because I've been in your shoes. I've experienced the frustration over unexplained weight gain, been exhausted after every workout, that is if I even had the energy or motivation to work out in the first place. I've even heard my doctor say there's nothing wrong despite these symptoms. See, my problem, and the problem for many other endurance athletes, was that while I didn't have a diagnosable illness, I wasn't completely healthy either. Fortunately, I found a way to get from just not sick to true, lasting health, and now I'm committed to helping others do the same. The 4 things I'm going to show you today are the exact same strategies that some of the most successful triathletes use to stay healthy and perform at their best, while others continually struggle and fail. But first, I want to point out that this is just one piece of a larger puzzle, and it's actually just one step in a 9-step process I use with my clients. So what I'm going to do right now is walk you through how to get the most out of your download. Then, at the end of this video, I'll show you exactly where it all fits into the big picture if your goal really is to optimize performance, maximize longevity, and avoid illness, injury, and burnout. See, there's a greater journey to get from point A to point B, but more on that later. Right now, let's dig into these top tips. Okay, so secret number 1 is to prioritize sleep. I understand that this is difficult at times, but you've got to practice good sleep hygiene and set yourself up for ample rest and recovery every night. Your overall wellness really does hinge on your dedication to adequate sleep. Think about it. When you're tired, how likely are you to make the best nutrition decisions? How productive are your workouts? Heck, how productive is your work? I think you see where I'm going here. The point is, you've got to get at least 7 hours of sleep, but more is better. Prioritize and eliminate until you can free up, say, 8 hours to dedicate to shut-eye. Now that doesn't include dozing on the couch before bed or between slaps of the snooze button in the morning. We're talking 7+ uninterrupted hours here. Look, I realize you may have small children, a shift-working spouse, or some other factor that doesn't allow for true uninterrupted sleep, but you've got to be creative and do the best you can. For example, improve your sleep by better managing your electronic devices. Start by powering down an hour before bedtime, since blue light from screens suppresses melatonin production. Preferably you'd leave these devices in a separate room while you sleep, but if you must have your phone nearby, figure out how to silence unnecessary beeps and vibrations. Texts, social media, and application notifications are examples. Even if you don't think those notifications and texts in the night are actually waking you up, they may still be affecting your sleep cycles. Some phones offer a quiet mode that allows you to suppress these disruptions automatically while you sleep. But regardless of your type of device, take just a few minutes and find a solution that works for you, whether it's activating a built-in feature or downloading an app. Oh, and one more thing on sleep. It should go without saying that cutting sleep short to squeeze in another training session is a definite no-no. Secret number 2 is to beware the black hole. If you're performing less than optimally, frequently injured or ill, or gaining weight despite your diet and exercise routine, black hole training is a likely culprit. See, triathletes often train at paces that feel great, but are too slow to provide an anaerobic benefit and too fast to recover from quickly. This pace, that will eventually grind you down to a nub, is considered the black hole. The best way to avoid the black hole is by monitoring your heart rate while you train. To calculate your maximum aerobic heart rate, use Dr. Phil Maffetone's simple method of deducting your age from 180. The resulting number is your maximum aerobic heart rate. Don't exceed this heart rate, at least during your base training or long efforts. Your pace, or time per mile at this heart rate, is an indicator of your maximum aerobic function, or MAF. If your MAF pace is significantly slower than your usual speed, it's an indicator that you need to dedicate some time to building your aerobic engine. But by doing so, you'll eventually be able to go faster than before with a lower heart rate. Don't be afraid to slow down to go fast. The 3rd secret is to accurately assess stress levels and learn to respond accordingly. While sleeping well and building your aerobic engine will help reduce stress, many athletes only factor the stress of actual workouts into their planning and neglect to account for the mental and emotional stresses in their daily lives. But stress is stress, regardless of the source. Neglecting to accurately assess stress in favor of a robotic obsession with checking all the boxes in your training log will eventually catch up with you. The problem is stress is subjective, and we all react and respond to it differently. That's why I like to use objective data in the form of heart rate variability, or HRV, to measure overall stress levels and guide workout decisions. Your HRV is the variation in time between heartbeats and a good measure of how hard your nervous system is working. The higher the HRV, the better. Measuring heart rate variability is as simple as downloading an app to your smartphone. I recommend Elite HRV, which is free and available for both Android and Apple. You may need to purchase a heart rate monitor chest strap that will work with your phone though, as Apple phones only work with Bluetooth devices, while newer Androids can detect ANT+ signals. After a few days, apps like Elite HRV establish a baseline and compare future readings against the baseline. The end result is a daily score and a recommendation on how to adjust your training based on the score. By measuring HRV and learning to adjust workouts accordingly, you begin to develop an intuitive approach to your training. You'll learn over time exactly what you need to perform your best without overextending yourself and eventually burning out. The secrets we've discussed so far have a cumulative effect. Once you're getting enough sleep to recover from your training at MAF will be more effective. By sleeping and staying at MAF, your heart rate variability will improve. The next step is to optimize your fuel source and use fat for fuel. Let me ask you this. If you had a Ferrari, would you want to have a 2-gallon fuel tank or a 20-gallon fuel tank? I'm betting you'd choose the 20-gallon tank. Well, you essentially do have two fuel tanks in your body, the carb tank and the fat tank. The carb tank is pretty tiny, which is why carb burners have to load up before endurance events, top off the tank during events, and refeed after. But fat-adapted athletes are tapping into a bigger fuel source, so they don't need to fill up the tank as often. Even the leanest triathlete has about 10 times more fat on board than carbohydrate. And the number one source of carbohydrates in the standard American diet is sugar. I bet you can guess what the first step in becoming fat-adapted is. That's right, it's time to break the sugar habit. Start by simply reading labels of everything you eat. If the food doesn't have a label because it's a plant, for example, you're good to go. Don't eat things with ingredients like sucrose, high fructose corn syrup, brown rice syrup, dextrose, and of course, sugar. Don't be fooled by no sugar added products either, as most of these contain sucralose or some other artificial sweetener. You may be surprised at how many seemingly sugarless products are actually quite laden with this stuff. From condiments like ketchup and salad dressing to your so-called healthy whole wheat breads and nutrition bars, sugar is everywhere. Whether you need to gradually reduce sugar to retrain your palate or find it easiest to go cold turkey, I promise you that freeing yourself of this addiction is well worth it and will pay dividends in your training and racing efforts. So there you have it. These are the 4 most important lifestyle changes you can make right now to optimize your performance and avoid burnout. But as I said before, there's a bit more to it if you truly want to regain your health and be sure to lead a long, active life. What I've shared today is part of the Adopting Changes step in what I call the Triathlete Total Wellness Toolkit. These changes are infinitely more effective once you've developed a complete picture of your current health status. That's why the journey begins with an in-depth exploration of your health history, current symptoms, and lifestyle factors, in addition to functional testing. Collecting this data allows us to customize the toolkit to meet your specific needs. In other words, we test instead of guess. Once we know what we're working with, we can refine your strategy, incorporate more specific changes to optimize your health, and make sure new habits stick through accountability. In the final stage, the focus is on maintaining optimal health for life. Here you develop your aptitude for not only listening to your body, but understanding intuitively what it needs and having the confidence to use the tools in your toolkit to keep yourself performing at your best for many years to come. If you're ready to make the transition to real, lasting wellness, I'd like to invite you to a free 20-minute strategy session. We can talk about your most pressing health concern, and I'll offer you my best tip on how you can begin tackling it immediately. Just click the link below and schedule a time that's convenient for you. I look forward to talking with you. In the meantime, this is Maria Brown, wishing you good health.